Morning, guys. Today we're going to be going over some back purging. As usual, we're using our EDGE Welding Cups, number 18 cup. Be rocking our Everlast 255 EXT TIG welder. And yeah, we're going to go over some back purging tips, maybe some fit up tips on stainless, some of the tricks and stuff I've found for back purging over years of time and spending a lot of money. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy. Let's get to it. Another part, well, this is another customer's setup. They've got these stainless steel small block Ford headers or turbo manifolds that the actual flange does not fit the heads that he's running. So he needed me to cut off the factory flange and weld on this new one, which turned out to be pretty complicated, which I knew it was going to. But anyhow, we're going to go over some back purge stuff today. I've owned a lot of different back purge kits and cones and things like that. I've had some 3D printed ones that I ended up accidentally breaking one of them. But what I've got here is just a conical reducer. It's, I think, 1.5 inches all the way up 3.5 inch conical reducer with an end cap welded on it. And I've got a quick connect fitting on the end of it to run my argon through. I use a lot of this. It's high temp masking tape for powder coating. And I use a lot of this stuff. It works really well. It doesn't leave the residue all over the place like your HVAC tape does, the silver HVAC tape. Anyhow, it works well to seal up all your points. So obviously, you want to be able to have everything, all your joints taped off except the one you're working on, right? In which I do. What I did was I plugged foil in the back side of the runners, plugged those holes with foil. I've got my cap in this end, and I've got my masking tape, powder coating masking tape around each joint. Now, I have a dual flow meter where I can show it to you guys. It's got, you can flow from both sides at the same time. We're going to be using our EDGE Welding number 18, GL18 cup with a 1/16 tungsten. And this isn't ultra thin wall stainless, but it's, if you're not used to welding it, it is pretty thin and can be kind of a bear if you're first learning how to weld stainless, because it'll want to peel back from you. If you've got your arc length too far back, or you don't have enough heat into it right off the bat, or too much heat. But the ticket is getting your heat in there effectively. Get your puddle built within 1 to 2 seconds. And just move. So the biggest enemy of stainless is heat. So moving at too low of amperage and moving too slow will actually give you more heat input than giving it just a little more amperage in the beginning and getting in and getting out quickly. So we're going to go ahead and weld this up. When I back purge, I generally turn my gas flow to about 5 CFH, and then I'll back it down to about 3 flowing. As it's flowing, you do want to have some kind of vent in this thing. So what I did was I just left one small hole on each end of the runner, a small pinhole in the foil, which will allow this thing to fill up and fill those runners up and still allow to breathe out, so that we make sure we get all of the oxygen out of this thing, because that argon's going to flow through here. It's heavier than air, and it's going to try to push it out like water. It'd be just like flowing water through this side of it. So that's what I'm going for. We'll go ahead and get these runners welded up, and the inside of our weld should look as good as the outside of the weld in theory if it's back purged correctly. All right. Had my back purge on for probably about 5 minutes. Like I said, I run it at 5 CFH to start, and then bump it down to about 3 flowing. Going to be running 45 CFH on this number 18 cup, and we're going to be keeping our arc length nice and tight. I wish the fit up on this tubing was just a hair better, but these are the cards we were dealt. The tubing that came with these header flanges is not the exact same outer diameter as this, so I've got it lined up the best we can get it. It should still turn out nicely. Let's get after it. Keeping my post fill flowing over the weld as it cools while I reposition. Running a 308 filler rod. This is 0.45 diameter filler rod. And that's turning out nicely. So, you've got good coverage with these cups. There's that nice colorless weld, along with not having too much heat in it, whether that be from putting too much heat in with my pedal or from not heating it enough and going too slow again. Okay, guys, we were going over back purging a little bit ago on that exhaust manifold, on that turbo manifold. It's a little hard to be able to show you guys inside that runner, but so what I'm going to do is set up a little mock piece here that we're going to go over back purging on. Again, I've had a bunch of different sets, and some of them are pretty expensive, the back purge plugs and things, but honestly, you can use high temp silicone powder coating plugs and just drill a hole in it and, epoxy a quick release, a quick fitting, quick disconnect fitting on it if you want. You can use, just a hose and tape if you want to. It's just mainly, you're just trying to get that shielding gas on the backside of your weld to shield the backside of the weld as you're going along. And the sanitary, like brewing and laboratory industries, it's key. I do a lot of sanitary, so not only is back purging, but also passivation which occurs after you're done welding. If you've ever seen the Capital Weld cleaning machines, that's all back purging in that industry. In the race car industry, we're still back purging, because what that's going to do is create a stronger weld, right? What I'm going to do here is I'm going to set this up. We're going to back purge and weld half of the weld, and then the other half of the weld, I'll take the cap off, and you'll see the back side of the weld with zero back purge, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So some of these guys that are in especially titanium is huge. Back purge on titanium isn't even a question. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You have to 100% of the time. And what I like about our EDGE cups are the fact that, you know, we're talking about shielding the back side of the weld right now, right? Well, the front side of the weld is obviously just as important, just as critical. And with their flow out of their cups, it's, I mean, top notch. I mean, you can guarantee you're going to get enough coverage. This GL18, I really like the 18 for stainless, and you can go way up from there. But this is kind of my go-to lately for stainless. But we're going to go ahead and, like I said, it doesn't have to be ultra expensive. You don't have to buy a $500 set of back purging plugs if you can't afford it right now. I do some powder coating as well, and this is high temp masking tape for powder coating. And I love this stuff because it doesn't leave a residue all over the material. So what I'll normally do is I'll tape up all of the joints that I'm not welding, and I'll just peel them back one at a time as I start on the next. And so we've got our plug in the backside, we've got our tape around our joints, okay? And then the end of it, you can either, I've used balloons before. If you have a big enough piece to where the heat's not going to be affected right here, you can actually blow up a water balloon, those little water balloons, blow that up with your air compressor inside of it, and that will block it off pretty well too. Foil works really well. You're probably going to still need to put some tape around the edges of the foil, but at least then it holds up to the heat and does the same principle. What we're going to do is we're going to cap this end off, and then I'm just going to pierce a small hole at the top corner, and as we flood the backside with argon, it's going to be just like if we were running water into this piece of tubing. So we're running water into this piece of tubing, you're trying to displace all of the air, right? We're just trying to displace the oxygen, the outside air that has hydrogen in it that attacks the backside of the weld. So if we put a pinhole up here, put a good sized small hole there, as we flood this, it's going to come and rise up to that level. And the theory is have argon completely throughout the backside of the weld. So let's go ahead and get after it. And like I said, I'll do half the weld back purged, half the weld without back purge. Okay. I went ahead and peeled back my tape just for the portion where I want to start here. And I've got my fit up nice and tight. I cut it on the bandsaw, cleaned it up with the belt grinder. You want a nice tight fit up. The tighter the fit up, the better appearance your weld's going to be, the better quality of weld it's going to be, and the easier time you're going to have. It's going to be pretty difficult with this thinner stainless if you've got gaps in it. So we'll go ahead. I'm going to get my arc length nice and tight on that thing and flash tack it. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Got my tacks. I'm always in the habit of keeping my cup up tight until your post flow quits. Okay. Keep your gas flowing. And that's what you should have. If your heat's right and your gas coverage is good, you should have a nice, colorless, a little bit of wheat is okay. A little more left for our half. A little further. And every time you guys see me stop and restart, I am going back about 3 dabs of where I left off and restarting my weld. So, all right, now we're going to go ahead and get rid of that back purge. So you can see the outside of our weld still looks really good because we've got plenty of coverage, right? We've got plenty of coverage from the outside, but we had no back purge on the inside. So I'm going to show you guys what the difference looks like. Back purge, back purge, back purge, no back purge. You can see the back side of that weld looks just like black sugar. And that is going to be, not only does it allow a place for the material to oxidize and possibly grow bacteria. You know, like I said, the outside of the weld looked fine because we had the coverage, but on the inside of the tubing, say it's at the dairy and you are too lazy to back purge. Sorry, hang on a sec. Yeah, say you're at the dairy, you're doing a job for the dairy and you're too lazy to back purge it. You're like, oh, screw it, it won't make any difference anyway. Well, that is the perfect breeding ground for bacteria. And that is the importance of back purging. One, makes a stronger weld, obviously, because it's shielded from the backside and it's not overcooking it like that. Number two, the oxidation, that's the big thing. Stainless, just because stainless, everybody thinks that stainless doesn't rust, that it's low carbon, it doesn't mean no carbon. And so anytime there's oxidation like that, that is a place where it will rust. That's exactly where it'll start rusting. Say you're in the CBD industry, the lab industry, and they've got rust running all through the backside of these things after you have come in and made a repair or you put your section in. I don't think the owner's going to be very happy when they've got to, they've got to either recall a bunch of material, a bunch of product because it wasn't done properly, or if it's just in the race car world where everything's heat cycling, getting hot, getting cold, getting hot, getting cold, you want less chance of a failure. Again, if somebody's paying you good money to weld up their stainless hot side, then you should probably go ahead and back purge it. But if hopefully this helped somebody. Sorry, I'm stumbling over my words today. But yeah, this is just high temp powder coating masking tape. And like I said, it does nice because it doesn't leave that filmy residue like HVAC tape does and just regular packing tape or whatever, So anyway, I'm Michael, Juggernaut Weld Fab. Hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, all of them. And thank you, EDGE, for always providing us with the best in the business. And these guys, they stand up to their name. They support their product. And if you got any ideas, you want some kind of custom funky cup made, hit them up. They'll do that for you too. Y'all have a good day.